Thank you for joining. We'll start the recording so that anyone who's joining late can rewatch it, and also anyone who might want to rewatch at a later date can also rewatch it. And we'll start in a few minutes so we give more time for some people to trickle in. Okay, it's 5 past, so guess we can now start. And then if, like I said, just to review the recording, anyone who might come in later will be able to see it anyways. So thank you for joining this ESA BASS webinar on integrated digital solutions for the energy sector. Today we will be presenting the ESA call on integrated digital solutions for the energy sector. We'll give you a few general use cases of what space technologies can do for the energy sector specifically, and in particular combined with digital twins, AI, VR, and so on. We'll give you a quick overview as well of some success stories that we've had in the past of the BASS program, and in particular, we have Goffran here from 3E, an alumnus of the program, who will tell you a little bit about their work and also his experience as a whole through the program. And then finally, to wrap it up, of course, we'll give you more info of how the BASS program works as a whole, how the application process works, and so on. So without further ado, let's start with why we're here. So this is a call for feasibility studies and demonstration projects by ESA. It is a non-competitive call, but with a specific theme in mind, and the theme is leveraging space-based technologies to advance the resilience and sustainability of the energy sector. The goal here really is to develop innovative solutions that can integrate satellite data with digital tools, so IoT, AI, and so on. And obviously, the goal is to develop a commercial product and a commercial project. So you also need to prove the economic viability of the idea, so that there is a return on investment, not for ESA, which is obviously not for profit, but for yourselves, as you will be the ones developing the IP and owning the IP at the end of the project. And you also want to show that if you present an idea, it has a solid business plan that shows a clear strategy behind it. But Anne-Catherine will touch more on that later on. This call is for startups and SMEs in Belgium and ESA member states. Of course, we represent the program in Belgium. And what we're looking for really is great ideas that will help improve the electricity grid management, predictive maintenance, energy forecasting, energy storage, and so on. We'll be circulating the slides at the end of the presentation as well, where you will be able to find the link to the specific call on the ESA website. And of course, for anything, you can always reach out and contact us. The call will close on the 2nd of May of 2025. So, as we know, and as we've seen, for better or worse in the last few years, the energy sector is a crucial portion of the global economy. It is obviously one of the key pillars of global commerce. It's a building block of the global economy, and any disruption to the energy supply chain have catastrophic effects on commerce everywhere, on electricity bills, on supermarkets, on jobs, and so on. Developing new technologies to strengthen the energy grid is paramount for resilience, for strategic independence, for to have a stronger economy in obviously what is a more and more interconnected world where consequences in where actions in one location affect everyone everywhere. So it is really important to maximize the resilience of our energy grids, to maximize the resilience of our networks and of our energy production. Also, as our energy consumption keeps on growing, there is obviously an eye to the environmental impact of our energy consumption, which means there is more of an attention towards renewables, which can greatly benefit, as we'll see in a second, from the use of space technologies. In short, improving our operations in the energy domain can improve the quality of life globally, can strengthen the economy, can strengthen, also political situations around the world, and can have a greater impact on the global population. So how can space technologies actually support the energy domain? There's three key batches that are highlighted by the call on the ESA website that you will be able to see. The first one is satellite communications and IoT. They can be used to ensure connectivity in areas where terrestrial networks and terrestrial infrastructure is not as great. Of course, this is not so much the case in Belgium, which is a fairly industrialized country, although there are some darker spots of communication here and there. But it is particularly important when applying, when developing grids and technologies in more rural areas or rural countries. IoT can enhance grid monitoring, optimize the energy flow, and overall improve the connectivity across the board. With Earth observation and navigation data, you can complement existing ground data with more environmental insights. You can forecast solar and wind energy production depending on weather data. And also you can use a navigation for autonomous maintenance, for example. So if you use drones or any sorts of autonomous vehicles for maintenance, then you can use navigation data to improve that, reduce costs of employment of people, of course, and also make it more efficient. Finally, where the digital tools come in is that AI, machine learning can enable predictive maintenance. Digital twins can facilitate the integration of IoT and Earth observation data because you can just create virtual models that will then inform your decision making. And augmented or virtual reality can help you overlay real-time data on existing digital maps. We have seen already some cases. Unfortunately, I cannot go in too much details on the specifics because they're ongoing projects that have not been announced publicly. But we have seen already some examples of usage of space data in for the energy sector. For example, we have been working with a project that is using satellite Earth observation imagery to improve the forecasting of solar generated energy in order to strengthen the grid, in order to understand when there will be dark spots, and in order to then improve the overall quality of the service provided by an energy provider in a less developed country than Western Europe. This is, it's just one of the cases. There are more. There are quite a few actually working on the project on the ESA BASS program at the moment, but because they haven't been publicly announced, then obviously we cannot go more in depth. However, this is why Goffran is here to present his idea in a second. There are many other success stories that we've had throughout the BASS programs for also different applications. One of them, for example, which again you piggybacks on weather data, is using weather data and positioning to estimate the snow levels in mountains. It's obviously not specific to the energy sector, but it's more of to give you an idea of what the versatility of space data is and how it fits more within the big wider scope of BASS that we'll talk about in a second. But without further ado, I think it'd be great to have then Gofran take over now and tell us a little bit about his project and about his experience, so you can have a more concrete example of what space data can do for you in the energy sector. So now give you the floor, and you should be able to control the slides.
Thank you very much, Vincenzo, for introducing me and 3E as well. From 3E side, we have participated in this call. We applied for this call more than 3 years back, and we went through 2 years through a project with ESA. And here I am to announce some of the key features that we have developed, our experiences that we have gained throughout this project phase, and how do we look forward in the coming days as well within 3E with the product or with the services that we developed. So the main, my whole presentation would be on 3 elements. Of course, the first I would want to describe on how we experienced the ESA BASS program from an outsider perspective, means that how did we apply, what was our experience throughout the process, and then would be leading with main achievements from the project that we have concluded last year. And of course, some of the pilot users and customers to give us an outlook from the product that we have already integrated into our service. On our experience on ESA BASS program, I would say the first driver for us to apply for this program is that from the call itself, it was pretty clear that it's a market-driven funding. Means that ESA BASS supports all of this commercially viable solution, which helps companies like 3E to position many of our real-world services that we want to provide, and to bring a faster response to the digital energy services that we want to do. And this program actually helped us quite a lot in the topic that I'm going to present in the following slides. However, the key feature that I would want to differentiate here is that through this call, high TRL projects are being approved, means that you can go until TRL 8 and 9 even. You can start from TRL 4 and end at TRL 9. Very rarely you will get such a scope towards a funding agency to prepare such a service, to go through the whole ecosystem of development. Why this is important? Because most of 3E software services that we offer are mature services, and some of those features that we would want to or we would love to integrate, it's rarely that you will find a research partnership where you can go throughout this ecosystem. So I have to say that this is one of the key stone or key element of this whole program. What also actually helped us a lot is that how do you bring Earth observation data or satellite data actually to a real life application? It's not always very easy to go from A to Z in this scope, because many of the satellite image experts or Earth observation experts are rarely in the energy field, and vice versa as well. And we wanted to build actually that bridge in between. This project helped us to get to that point. And of course, last but not least, all throughout this proposal phase, we found the entire ecosystem to be very responsive and flexible. Means that it was not that we just submitted one application and then it was evaluated completely. Rather, we went through multiple levels of evaluation. All of them were short and precise, and we were asked questions or added additional explanation on each process. That actually helped us to craft this proposal from the inception, and started adding up more and more business detail or project relevant ideas into it. So that was more or less our experience from the whole program. But of course, our experience does not end there. Means that I also want to show our main achievements, or what have we done throughout this project. To get to that point, I need to explain to you what 3E does and what 3E is as a company. We are a renewable energy company. We have been active in renewable energy industry for more than 25 years now, which means we have been active in renewable energy industry way before it was a topic which was cool. So in the last 25 years, we have had many different spin-offs as well. And mostly in our consultancy services, we have offered services to 90 plus gigawatt of solar, wind, and battery assets in 110 different countries. But mainly since 2012, we started our SaaS, means that software as a service solution for solar, wind, and battery asset operation. And this project is actually basing on these digital services and tools that we provide for the renewable energy asset operation. To give you a brief idea, Synaptic, 3E Synaptic is our solar asset operation software. And you can see in the map that how we got connected to 25 gigawatt of solar and wind power plant in 40 different countries. And all of these power plants are more than 10,000 sites, and we are connected to, or we are gathering data set from 20 million plus devices. And when you imagine most of the solar power plant, you imagine a very generic scenario that there are solar modules or solar power plants, but utility scale solar power plants connected to 3E Synaptic can be widely different. It can be a floating solar power plant underneath or under sea level in Netherlands. It can be utility scale multi-gigawatt solar power plant in a ground-mounted ecosystem. It can be also small, but many solar power plants on top of petrol pumps. It can be also battery assets. And last but not least, it can be also floating solar power plant on top of Swiss Alps on 1800 meter altitude. So you can imagine all of this wide variation, and all of this requires actually very good or high quality data set or high quality solar data set and high quality weather data set that we need as a basic material for all of this digital twin simulation. And this is what I wanted to show, why it is important for us to have such a high quality data set to make sure that all of this power plant, no matter wherever they are located or wherever they're situated or what type of solar power plant it is, it should have an access to good quality data. On the project objectives, within this project, we went from TRL 4 to TRL, almost to TRL 9, means that after the project ended, we actually packaged the entire services into our product ecosystem right away. The main achievement, I would have to say that we developed a dedicated solar API from 3E's side, means that we could offer clients solar resource data and weather resource data as well at the same time. And the dedicated platform was created on a cloud computing base. And this is something we did not have in the past, which means that we can deploy or we can provide solar resource data fast and with high accuracy because of that. And last but not least, on the validation, we have done extensive validation on our project from the results that we have received, both internally and through an external auditor. And through this ESA BASS program, what was good part about this is that the whole program supports this documentation or user documentation, which is something very important for us, that we could make that extensive user documentation throughout this project ecosystem. One snippet is that even before the project finished, actually we had our first trial users or trial customers testing out this product while the project was almost at the finish. So I would say that this was a success for us throughout this project. This is just a snapshot of how 3E Synaptic solar data could look like integrated within our SaaS. But what I wanted to show here is that on the Earth observation side, if you see on the table, the blue column and the green column, MSG Prime, or named as 0 degree service or IODC, both of the satellite data was integrated throughout this project. And as we took the opportunity as well to go beyond. It means that not only the ESA solar or ESA solar data, as we created the framework or platform, we actually integrated the other parts of the world where we could get an access to data set there at the same time. How did it help? It helped us to cover or to provide global coverage of solar resource data all throughout all of this country that Synaptic Solar is being operated. And this helped us actually to streamline in one clear framework or one clean framework where we could offer such a service. This is just a overview of the entire system architecture where we get Earth observation data, how do we process it to numerical weather modeling, and then in the middle you could see the solar resource data processing. Here is where 3E actively worked on, means that we packaged many of those items before to package together in a clean, nice framework to provide solar resource data. And the delivery itself, right now we are already offering this service through an API interface, means that a client, no matter wherever they're located, we can provide service or quick service through an API integration. And why this is important? Because imagine the 10,000 PV sites that we are operating, all of these sites is drawing solar resource data on a daily basis. I would say that this is an impressive success, means that very rarely you would see such huge amount of satellite or solar resource data being used actively every day in 40 different countries, all at the same platform. On the validation side, we have done both internal and external validation as well. There are reports, extensive reports on how our results performed after this project. If you are interested, this is publicly available validation. We can share the white papers with you. Pilot users and customers. As I mentioned earlier in the beginning, this was a success for 3E internally because even before the project finished, we were already doing trial basis with our potential clients, giving them access to the API or platform and testing out all the features that we were planning to develop. So in that sense, thank you, ESA BASS program, that helped us to get to that fast integration into our product. On future commercial perspective, high quality solar resource data is essential, but building on top of this, we can make sure that this high quality solar resource data can be integrated into many different aspects for the entire life cycle of solar power plant. So from the design phase till to the end of life operation, and that is where 3E is primarily working on in the current scope. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Gofran. So we've obviously talked about more in specifics about what space data does for the energy sector, what possible applications. Here you've had a great presentation about a specific project, but now it's your turn. How can you get into the ESA Business Applications program, and what are the steps to follow? So now I'll leave the floor to Anne-Catherine so that she can present the program and she can give you more of an explanation of how it works and what you can expect.
Thank you, Vincenzo. As Gofran explained, they've achieved quite a lot with the Business Applications program and the funding that they've acquired through that. They managed to take a service that was at a TRL 4 to 5, bring it up to a higher TRL, as well as at the same time demonstrate it to potential customers and build a business around it. And that is also the main reason for this program. It's not to fund on the R&D side. It's really to scale up your services and make sure that you can commercialize them and build a business out of them. And so how does that work? In particular, and you've already seen that with this call, the Business Applications, ESA Business Applications program is all about how can space assets be used to improve your services for non-space sectors. In this case, the energy sector. And And so the idea is that you develop or upgrade your products or your services using Earth observation, satellite communication, GNSS, or space weather or space flight technologies even. Not all of them at the same time, but the ones that are relevant to you, and build a case or a business case for them to your end users. Can you sell the service for a higher revenue, for example? Can you do more when you integrate the space assets? As we're talking about a product or a service that's close to commercialization, the budget is co-financed. So ESA or Belgium, through the European Space Agency, co-funds feasibility studies or demonstration projects for up to 1 million euros, meaning that you also have to put some of the budget in it yourself, but you will get out of it with users, with new clients as well. And so in particular for business applications in general, and for this call in particular, so we are talking here for the energy call about a thematic call, which is an open call. And within that open call, you have, or within this energy call, you have two types of projects. Either it's a feasibility study, so to help you prepare both the technical evaluation as well as how can we commercialize this further, defining new applications, new services, new kinds of clients. Those feasibility studies are usually in a earlier stage of your service. They last for about 6 to 9 months, and ESA co-funds 50% of the cost of the project for you to develop the feasibility study, with a maximum limit of 375,000 euros as a co-funding amount. If you say, I already have a product that's further down the line, it's very close to commercialization, I just need that last push because I want to demonstrate it to clients, but they don't want to pay for it yet, and I want to get some funding for it, then a demonstration project is where your best bet. That's usually longer in duration, 12 to 24 months, so 1 to 2 years. And again, you get 50% of the cost of your project funded by ESA, with a maximum of 500,000 euros, meaning a total of 1 million euros. And if that sounds like, okay, great, but I still need to write a proposal, how does that work? That's what we're for. So Vincenzo and I are here to help you get through the entire process, help you understand how ESA works, what all of the documents are, how to do the financial proposal, for example, and in particular, help you across that first stage. Because what's important here is the very first step. Once you are in the process, you have a fairly good chance of finalizing everything. It just takes a few rounds of documentation that you need to send. But the first step is the important one. So it's filling out an activity pitch questionnaire, which is about 7 pages long. It looks very short. It's a structured PDF, a template where there are several questions that you need to fill out. However, it's the most important step in order to convey your idea to ESA. And that's the one that will be evaluated, and where if you do well, then you get into a process where things will be a lot easier and not as competitive. That is also where we come in. If you're interested in doing that, we can help you find the right APQ. And once you have filled out the questions, we can help you improve as well on the various questions to help you increase your success rate or for the proposal. After that, say you've submitted the APQ, which is now by the deadline of the call that Vincenzo mentioned earlier. it takes about 2 weeks for ESA to respond to you, to say, yes, this is a good idea, go ahead. No, I'm sorry, this is not what we wanted to, or ask some more questions because things are not quite clear. But once you have been approved, you will be asked to write an outline proposal, which is going a little bit more into detail in a Word document, so you have less restrictions, going more on to the project budget, any partnerships, the scope of the work, and going more in detail, and the planning. Once you are at that stage, we will also start setting up a meeting with the Belgian Science Policy Office, BELSPO, as they will need to provide you with a letter of support to show ESA that you have been approved for the project, because the budget actually comes from BELSPO, is just distributed through ESA. And then once you, so that letter of support is needed, especially at the stage of the full proposal. Once you submit your full proposal, you need to have that letter of support. So we usually schedule that towards the end of the outline proposal, or in between the outline proposal and the full proposal, so that you also have good chances and you know that BELSPO is behind you. The full proposal really contains all of the documents with all of the acronyms that ESA is used to, where we can also help you with understanding. So going into depth on PSS forms, which are the financial forms that ESA requires, work breakdown structure, work package descriptions, CVs of the people that will be working on it. And then usually, ideally ESA, but it also depends on the time that is needed for you to write the proposals. Ideally, ESA wants to have within, let's say 2, 3, 4 months, this whole process finished, which also helps you to move ahead with the project as quickly as possible. But once you have passed through the full proposal phase, you're just waiting for the contract, and then it's time for you to kick off and do some develop your product further. So that's it, I think, from my side. Yes, if you have questions, if you're willing to submit an APQ, an application pitch questionnaire, don't hesitate to reach out to us at ambassador@spacebusiness.be, or go to our website and fill out the contact form, and you will reach us as well. And we're happy to help you out. We're providing customized support for you. And yeah, if there are any questions, either for Gofran on the project that he has done, or for us on business applications funding, you can either put your questions in the Q&A or in the chat, or raise your hand and we can also unmute you, so you can ask in the call. And just checking whether someone. So at the moment, I don't see anyone writing any questions. If there are no specific questions at this time, don't hesitate to reach out, write us an email. We really hope you have been inspired today by Gofran and the project that he's done. And we really hope to see your interest in applying to business applications and to the energy call. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.